Hello and welcome to LearnPythonTutorial.com, and today we're going to build a simple subtraction uh, program. And we're going to use floats in this one. It's going to be very similar to our addition program where we only use integers. So we're going to be able to use floats. So let's bring up our old one we just built and take a look at it. I moved mine so mine's no longer in my desktop. I'm going to do Python 3 and then I'm going to do addition.py, run that. Now I want to just look at what happens if I use a float. 7.6 up, invalid literal. That means we can't use floats in this program. Well, what good is an addition program if we can't use floats? So let's go ahead and build a subtraction one that's able to use floats and integers. Alright, to do that we're going to open up our text editor. I'm going to save mine by hitting Command S to create the new file. And I'm going to save it into my desktop. Subtraction.py. So just name it subtraction.py. And we're going to create one. We're going to give a little welcome message again, print. And the parentheses and say, welcome to our subtraction program. Pretty simple. We talked about that before. Now we're going to take the user's first number. So we're going to do first num as our variable. Set that equal to float. Then we'll do input. And then do what is your first number? Period space. Now we'll do a second variable. We'll do second num. Pretty familiar to our previous program we built. Input. And what is your second number? Space. Now, what's float? Well, float's going to go ahead and, if we just use input, it's going to add it as a string. So we're converting it to a float. Okay? So the input, if we just had input and we didn't have float, it's going to be entered into our program as a string. And as we saw in the previous program, it doesn't add that way. It just concatenates the strings together. So we add float and we say convert whatever the user gives us to a float. Okay? So now we need our sum. The sum, we'll set equal to. And then since there's going to be floating point numbers, let's say we want to round it because we don't want any funky numbers coming back to our users. And so we're working with dollars and cents. So we'll do first num minus second num. And then comma, and then 2. We want 2 numbers after the decimal point. Alright, now we want to print back the sum to the user, so we'll do print. And we'll say your sum is, well, your difference, I guess it would be. Your difference is. And then we do curly braces, go on the other side of the quotes and put format. Talked about what format it does. And then put the sum. Save it by hitting Command S, and let's go ahead and run this program. So I need to go back to my desktop, change directory back, and we'll do Python 3, and we're going to run subtraction.py, hit return, and welcome to our subtraction program. What is your first number? My first number is 4. What is your second number? My second number is 2. Hit return. Now I showed it to you this way because we told it to return a float, and now it gives us a float of 2.0. Alright, so what happens if we work with floats? Let's go ahead and run that program again. I just pushed up to get Python 3 subtraction.py, hit return. What's your first number? 7.89. Then I bought some milk for $3.25. Return, and there we go. We got the rounded version of the subtraction. And that's pretty simple, right? That was just another simple program to show you what float does. We'll keep doing programs as we move on, just whatever I can think of by introducing new stuff. So let's just run through this one more time. We print on the first line, we print a welcome statement. Just welcoming the user, telling them what this program's about. Second thing we do is we ask the user for a value, a number, and then we save that into an object. So input is asking the user to give us a value, a number. Then we convert it to a float, and then we put it into an object with first num pointing to object. First num is the variable. And then we do the same thing down at the bottom. We ask the user for a second number, and we use input to get the user's number. Then we convert it to a float, and in that object would be a float, and then we point the second variable to that object. And then here we round our numbers. We want to round, so we have two numbers after a decimal point, and we're going to subtract the first number from the second number, and we're going to point the sum variable to that object that we get from this right here. Then we're going to go print the statement your difference is, and we format it. We format the string by adding the sum in at the end here. Pretty simple. If you have any questions, leave a comment on YouTube or on our website at learnpythontutorial.com. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.